All right. I can see comments and I can see myself, so we are live. We're good to go. I don't have the vertical output for other platforms, just TikTok. Wasn't working last week, so I turned it off. All right. So for anybody who wants to know what we're doing tonight, I've got this chain made from chains, right? And we're going to turn it hopefully into a sculpture of some sort that is standalone, and we'll make it look all nice and pretty and do cool stuff. And this wasn't part of my plan, but I've got these. How many do I have left? I think I have 17 of these left. I'd have to count. I've got these 1-inch ball bearings. So what we're going to do is as we put this together, I'm going to capture some ball bearings in here to take up space and add rigidity. Get those centered. They're not stuck in there yet, but if we add everything else I want to add to this, it should be pretty cool. Now I did have some copper I was going to add to this, and I still might. I want a color contrast to highlight all this stainless steel that's in here. The ring sizes don't match. I ran into that issue before, over and over again. I have a bunch of old rings from the Ring Lord. They changed up how they did their sizing, so I gotta use up all my old rings before I really delve into purchasing lots of new rings. Also, these are machine cut and they're not very nice. They're kind of spiky. I don't feel like adjusting each single ring in here to make them smooth. So that's been an issue. All right, so something like this that curves around on itself. Obviously, these are not stuck yet. They will be. Make it so they can't move. I have it in my hand. I was like, where'd the third one go? I lost it. So, anyway. How's everyone tonight? How's your Thanksgiving? Hope you had a good time. I do have this like 1 1/4 inch gas marble, and I could probably fit it in here. It would take some reworking. I'm not willing to do it. I'll just stick with the stainless steel ball bearings for right now. So what I'm going to do, if you watched the 30-pound chainmail cube I made at all, I used a weave called Sandworm. And so what I'm going to try and do is duplicate that. See, this is a chain of full Persian. I take it and I wrap it around on itself and make it into a ring and then weave it into my piece here in the right manner. That should get me, well, right now this is a full Persian chain made of full Persian rings. Right? If you see that, that's a weave called full Persian. And usually people just make necklaces out of it. But I have a ton of these old rings that I've got to use up for something, so might as well do something cool with them. So I'm going to add a box weave to the outside of this full Persian, and that should make the weave sandworm, right? Weaves don't weave names don't really have meaning. Whoever comes up with the weave gets to name it. And right on time, there goes the dog barking. It's like he knows when I go live. So, Astrid, how you doing? Essentially what I'm going to be doing tonight is I'm going to attach, I've got my control here. This is the chain that I want, that'll be like the last one woven in. I don't know how many single strands of full Persian I'll need, but I've got at least 4 to attach tonight, and then we'll make some more, and hopefully this will be a big project that uses up lots of rings. All right. So, Astrid, how was your Thanksgiving? I hope it was good. It's nice to see you. All right, these rings at this size, when attaching one end to the other of this full Persian chain, it's super annoying. It's really tight. I don't have the right pliers to get in here, really. It was good, low-key. You went to Whataburger. Oh, hey, right on. I miss Whataburger. And Sonic. And Jack in the Box. We don't have those here. Like, back in the day, there was a big E. coli outbreak at Jack in the Box in the Midwest. I remember being alive for this event. And I didn't live in the Midwest at the time, so it didn't affect me. And everywhere else I had lived, always had a Jack in the Box. But now that I live here, there are no Jack in the Boxes, and there is no Sonic, and there is no Whataburger. And I have to drive to Indiana to get Yingling. And, I mean, it's just a savage place to live, man. Alright. So, I got 3 of the 4 rings attached. Now, this isn't going to look like much until I have more attached to the outside. Right? It'll make more sense then. And this is where I wanted to use the copper, right? Because you can kind of see the weave, and it'll just look like a mess. The reason I'm continuing with it is I'm not going to spend any more money. Like, this is just a sculpture to do. If this was a paid project, I'd take the time to get the right ring size and the right color and everything. So there's going to be a lot of visual confusion because I don't have at least two colors, and it's all going to be one color, so a lot of people won't know what they're looking at. But I'll have the stainless steel ball bearings inside of it, so maybe that will help. I don't know. We'll see. This is where it gets tricky. Right here. Apologize for putting my head down. If I don't think I'm blocking the camera, but I can't hardly see. Is it silver? No, this is all stainless steel. The one, the only Carl. How you doing tonight? I've got some silver here. I don't know what to do with it. All right, come on. It's so tight, there's no room to use 2 pairs of pliers to get this together or to take it apart. You're just gonna kind of have to manipulate it into place, and that's gonna have to be good enough. I have some silver here. This is a project I was working on. It didn't work out. This is square wire silver. all sterling. So 0.925. You had a family surprise us, so you didn't have enough food or space to... I suppose I could hold it up for another second. To make dinner at home, so you had to go to Whataburger for the rescue? Nice. So this did not pan out the way I had hoped. It's got too much of a curvature to it. So eventually I will figure out something else to do with this. But as of right now, I'm at a loss. Then I have these really, really tiny ones. And I don't know what to do with these. These, I'll probably make these into beads. Let me show you what I mean. So I've got these little beads for necklaces, right? Now this is not, like, I wouldn't make a chain out of this. This silver is really soft. So I'll probably make it into a standalone bead that you can put on a necklace or something and just do that with it. But yeah, silver's fun. I need to make pieces. I need to practice my welding is what I need to do. Then I think I would be more comfortable with making pieces out of silver in that ring size particularly. What's the AR on it? I don't even know what ring size it is. It's like 22 gauge, 3/32. Yeah, 20 gauge, 3/32. That does not look like 20 gauge. It might be. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I'd have to do the math on what the AR is. Pretty. Carl, did you make a comment that didn't show up? It's not your fault. I've got the language filter on because people like to come in and ruin people's lives. Not literally my life, but the live stream. All right. So yeah, I need to get more comfortable with the welder that I have. It's 20 gauge, but only loosely. Yeah, it looks like 22 gauge. I'd have to measure it to get a real size on it. Come on. So I will attach these 4 chains that I have, and then we'll make some more. And it will be an enthralling stream, and everybody will be riveted, unable to look away. What the hell did I just do? Come on. All right. There it is. Oh, where are we at? You have silver chains, but they're so expensive. You got it at the mall? Right on. Yeah, silver's creeping up in price, man. There's I don't know if it's going to stay that way or what. We'll see what happens. I would like for silver to come down and gold. I know people that are priced out of working with them altogether. It's like silver jumped $10 overnight, and everything that they had, it's like they couldn't move it because it got too expensive for everyone. Come on. this is not going to be pretty. Alright, if you ever come to my house and see this piece that I'm working on right here, don't judge my closures, okay? I'm doing my best here. Most of them are okay, but where I'm connecting the chains to each other, it's not the best. I'm not gonna lie. Are you getting swarmed by bots on Facebook right now? It's annoying. Oh no, that's awful. Facebook bots are annoying. Are they like messaging you, telling you that they want to help you with your business or something? Jonathan Chang, how you doing? Good to see you. The jelly cube, the only jelly cube I'm working on right now. So the bronze and stainless steel one is done and sent off to its new owner. I'm glad to have got that done. And then the larger aluminum one is done. It's over at my bar. It's 10 feet away over there. I don't own a bar. It's been a minute since I say maybe add loop. Oh yeah, that's okay. Had like 6 messages last hour to help grow your Shopify. Oh yeah, I get those. Yep, just delete them. Move on. They're not going to do anything for you. I do like Shopify. I use Shopify for my website. All right. Come on. Yeah. I recently just got out of the loop of where'd you go? I had to delete a bunch of emails. Some company, something, somewhere got a hold of my email and was sending me a bunch of emails over, or spread it out to a bunch of different companies. It was super annoying. How much would a jelly cube commission be? Well, they're let's see here. Oh, I don't have my calculator out because I restarted my computer. So, how many rings was the last one? 6,000 divided by, I do 200 rings an hour on average. That's 30 hours times $25 an hour. $750 plus supplies. So you're looking at about $1,000. Okay, so this is where it becomes a pain. This ring doesn't want to cooperate, so now it's got to be removed, but... So that was for the last one. I mean, I'm not set up to take custom requests or anything. I rarely do. That one just happened to work out. So if you want a smaller cube than that, that's a fairly large cube. Astrid, commenting right there in the comment section, makes cubes as well. She makes pretty ones. Cooler ones than I make. Oh, thank you. Come on. This one doesn't want to cooperate either. Why? Why are you like this? Alright, this is the sucky part. I'm literally just tearing up rings trying to throw the fourth one in here. Alright. Yeah, cubes they're very time consuming, they're material intensive, they're just expensive things to make. Right? And like this project right here already has over 4,000 rings in it. There we go. Finally got one to cooperate. Okay, so where was I? Oh, I was gonna go grab the other jelly cube that I finished. Hang on a second. All right, this one is 15 rows on each side. There's like 18,000 plus rings in it, something like that. And I wouldn't part with that for like less than $5,000. So and I do have my motorcycle toolkit project still going. I need to get a hold of a, oh, what do you call it? It's called a it's a leather punch, right? You just set your punch diameter that you want and pull a lever and it punches the hole. I need one of those for that project. I want a little more precision than doing it by hand, and quite frankly, I don't want to do it by hand. It's a lot of holes. So, a leather punch press. That's what I need. That's what it's called. Words. Words are hard. All right. So, for my Thanksgiving, spent it with the in-laws. They cooked and cleaned up, and I just went over there and ate. And was very thankful that I didn't have to do any cooking or cleaning. But they will come over here for Christmas. So, all right, and I've got a full week of work ahead of me. I've got some appointments coming up. Got some cardiology appointments coming up. I have to go have my heart checked out. I'm not particularly concerned about anything, but my dad recently had a heart attack, and he's doing okay. He told me that he thinks he's going to go do a day of skiing, because where I grew up in Boise, there's Bogus Basin, an hour up the mountain, and I grew up going skiing up there. And my dad was telling me, like, he just started skiing one day. His parents didn't ski or anything. He's like, oh, I'm going to go skiing. And his first set of skis were wooden skis, which I thought was accurate. All right, this is annoying. So I'm glad to see that he's feeling better, good enough to go skiing anyway. Hopefully he does it and has himself a good time. But yeah, Dad had a heart attack. My mother passed away from a heart problem a couple years ago. Oh wow, that just ripped up the ring. And so I've got to go and get my heart checked out. What I want to know is if I have the same heart rhythm that my mother had. That was my question. And the doctor was like, oh, well, we can do this, 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 and this to find out. And I was just expecting like an EKG, you know, where they hook your heart up to the monitors. Or to a monitor. And look at your heart rate. Heart rhythm, rather. Why don't you want to? Come on. All right. What else have I got going on? I've got some people coming to the house. I need my air ducts cleaned. So they're going to come clean and seal the air ducts in my house. So that'll be nice. Okay, you can kind of see where I'm adding these here to create this box weave on the outside. It really would have looked better with another color. Can you guys just stay up there for a second? No, you're not going to do that? Alright, let me add this last ring. But that's what it'll look like, right? These are the rings I'm adding on the outside. And this one. And that's what it'll look like. And we'll put a ball bearing in there, and then hopefully that'll tighten everything up, and hopefully it'll look good, and hopefully it'll work out, right? I'm going to need some more chain to flesh this out a little more, but these big projects take time, and I have plenty of things to do in addition to this. So I do want to get the motorcycle toolkit done sooner rather than later. If I can get the toolkit and the gas tank bib done before riding season next year, I will be a very happy guy. I was going to try and get all the hydro dipping of the body parts of the bike done this year, but that's going to wait. That'll be a next fall project. So we'll see. We will see what happens. I did put together a 3D puzzle this weekend. The neighbors were clearing out their garage, and it was given to us as a gift. So I was cleaning up the kitchen, and it was on the kitchen table. I was like, all right, let me put this together and get it out of the way. And I probably spent about 5 hours last night working on it, and then right at the end of the night, I hit it wrong, and the whole thing collapsed. Right, and if you've, it's like a clear plastic 3D puzzle. Okay, and if you've never put one of those together, they're not a gift. They're not a nice thing to get someone. Don't get me wrong. I'm very appreciative of my neighbors for giving us stuff. But after about 5 hours last night, I was like, when I knocked it over, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm done. I give up. So, but then this morning I was looking at it and I was like, okay, well, I can fix that relatively quickly, I think. So, let me add another 3 hours to working on it, and then I finally got it done. So, it's a little pirate ship, which cool, you know. There we go. Oh, perfect. All right. So this doesn't really, without another ring in here, it doesn't really show. Where am I adding this to? Don't tell me I did this wrong. I'll double check the image that I'm working off of. But let's throw a ball bearing in here. See if it sits a little prettier, a little tighter. Actually, okay, so there's definitely some room taken up by the chains I added. Which is what I'm going for. Maybe too much room taken up. That's quite rigid already. So worst case scenario, we'll just make a long chain of this and call it a decoration. Dang, man. Go in your home. All right, I might have to be more careful about adding chains to this. There we go. Interesting. Well, I hope I didn't screw myself. So I've got a lot more chains to add, but that's essentially what we're looking at right there. That is what the end result should be, and hopefully we can get it to work. That would be really cool. So, this is our control. We don't want to use this. This will be the last chain added. Now I just got to make more. I don't know how many I'll need. I'm hoping to use up the bulk of this container here, but we will see what happens. So, I don't know why I chose to use sandworm as this weave. I use it a lot in the cube, and I find it to be a useful weave, I guess. It's very sturdy. All right. So each strand is like 188 rings or something. So what is that? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. What's 24 times? Yeah, 4,500 rings so far. In this, just this piece right here. So this is going to take a while, especially if it works. I'm kind of bummed that the copper didn't work out, because let me show you what I'm talking about. Other pieces that I've done are visually confusing. Right, you look at that, it kind of just looks like a mess. You can kind of see a pattern, but if there were two colors in there, you'd definitely be able to tell a lot better, right? But like I said, I'm not putting in any more money into this project than what I have already, right? So the two-tone would give it that, it would clear up that visual confusion, right? The other thing that I'm very thankful for having the ball bearings here is that they're a different surface. They break up the pattern of the weave and everything. So they're kind of like a reference point to help someone looking at it like see what they're seeing, understand what they're seeing. And I was thinking, and I might still do it, I ordered, I had the copper, right, for that second color, which is not working out. Unless I can think of, I might play with these rings some more and try and find another weave that would be suitable for this. That might work. But the other thing I was thinking of using was like 14 gauge copper wire. Just one long copper wire, and then using that as the solid texture to help break up the rest of the pattern, right? Awesome. When can you afford one? Reach out. Right on. Eat the cube win. When I get $8 million. Max, how you doing? $8 million transferred to my bank account that I don't have to pay taxes on. Crazy hat. Thank you. I got this from my son last year for Christmas. I think it was last year. Might have been the year before. So it takes 4 rings to lengthen this about 1/8 of an inch, or 1/7 of an inch. This chain. It's not the most arduous weave, but when am I making a ball? Like out of the same weave as the cube. It's like people ask, can you make a ball? Can you make a pyramid? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I think you can. I've just never had the right ring size and the opportunity to play around with the rings I have. So I've never done it. I've made lots of other spheres and juggling balls, and I haven't made any hacky sacks though. That is something I want to throw in my basket of products to have on hand should I ever become a vendor. What am I doing? So I'm making this chain here, and I've got to make a bunch that are this long, right? Which is 5 1/4 inches, 5 1/2 inches, and they will be added to my project here. So I've got this center chain, and I'm putting this box weave around it. And it should work out. It got very tight. So hopefully it'll stabilize, and I want to make a big ring out of it. That's the goal. That'll hopefully stand up all on its own. So it'll be a good way to use up a lot of these rings I have on hand. I did make a few chains before the stream started and added them to my larger chain here. And we'll see if it works, and hopefully it does, and hopefully I don't have to tear it all apart and adjust everything, because that would be really annoying. But I figure I'm going to make it work, right? Like, if I can't find another weave or a way to incorporate the copper here, and then maybe I'll just add that copper wire, the like 14 gauge copper wire or 12 gauge copper wire. We'll see. So just really fun process of making each of these chains. I've already got 24. I'm guessing 100. I'm going to guess 100. Yeah. And if that's all I have to make, then great. Which, I don't even know if I have enough rings for 100. I would assume that I do. We'll see. We'll figure it out so that I use up the supplies on hand without having to compromise in any way further. It's like I don't want to be ordering any more rings than what I have to, and spending more money on these projects than what I have already. And this is just like my big project right now. I don't have... everything else I've got going on is fairly smaller than this, ring count wise. Like the toolkit wrap, I gotta go to my local Tandy and pick up some leather cord. I've got to go... What else do I need from there? I don't know. I have a list of supplies that I need before I can really move ahead with anything else. Mech, how you doing? Patrick, how was your Thanksgiving? It was good. You like my glasses? Thanks. They help me see. Speaking of my glasses, for the first time ever, I got transition lenses. I've never had transition lenses before. I thought... I usually have, like, clip-on sunglasses that I wear all the time whenever I'm out and about. Carry them around with me. And I thought with the transition lenses, I wouldn't need those. Right? But I was very, very wrong. So apparently, I don't know if other people's transition lenses do this or not. Doing fantastic. How about me? I'm good. I'm good. My transition lenses do not transition in a vehicle. Right? They don't transition in the shade. They only transition when I'm in direct sunlight. And that's like instant migraine. Where are my manners? Patrick, did I answer your question? I had a good Thanksgiving. I went to the in-laws. Got to eat food. Didn't have to clean up. It was good. How was your Thanksgiving? All right. Transition ice, but only for outside, and the only transition from UV light. Yeah. So, that does not work for me at all. So I still have the clip-on sunglasses that I wear, and I used to want LASIK to get my eyes fixed, or PRK, or whatever I qualified for. And now I'm old and elderly, and I'm like, you know, I don't want to deal with it. I've worn glasses my whole life. Thank you for the dinos. Appreciate you. The car windows have a UV layer. Yeah, and it doesn't work. I need I need the shade when I'm driving for sure. So now I'm like, I don't want to spend the money to get any eye surgery to fix my eyesight, so let me just wear glasses, and then maybe I will spend my extra money on some prescription sunglasses. I've always wanted prescription sunglasses, so I'm going to do that instead of getting the surgery. But I don't know. I'd have to look into it again. It's like what? It's like $1,500 an eye, which isn't bad. What if I could just wear regular sunglasses? I could wear cool sunglasses for once, which I've never been able to. Yep, contacts register, but you still wear sunglasses outside. Yeah, I can't wear contacts. Well, I can, right? I have in the past. But the last time I got like the 30-day wearable contacts, and my eyes just rejected them outright. It's like, yeah, no. I had a big old sty in one eye, and they were constantly irritating me, and so I quit wearing contacts after that. I was like, yeah, no, not for me. It's like I've got long eyelashes, and I'm getting the old man like wisdom eyebrow hairs like a great horned owl anymore. And when one of those falls into your eye with a contact in, it's the worst thing you've ever experienced. What am I? I am making I'm working on a sculpture. That hopefully works out. I really hope it does. So, and I was looking at pictures of the weave sandworm on Mail Artisans. And remember how I said that the box weave does not touch itself? I think I lied about that. Just so you know, Mech, I know that you and I had a discussion about that. There are pictures where the box weave on the outside of the full Persian is connected to itself. So maybe I wasn't using the right aspect ratio with my former sandworm project, but yeah, I'm making a sandworm sculpture. Go figure. Maybe I'm just not that, like, I don't know, creative or something. So I've got my full Persian chain here, and then here's my first loops of the box chain on the outside, and inside there are 1-inch steel ball bearings. So I'm going to try and lock those in there real good so they can't move. And then I want to make a curb sculpture out of it that hopefully stands on its own. We will see what happens. All right, where's my music? What happened? There we go. So, I don't know how many more of these 5.5-inch chains I'll have to make, but it's a lot. I'll probably have to make, I'm guessing, around 100. We'll see what happens. Let's see, let's actually do some math on this. Okay. I was going to say, what is 100? There's 188 rings in it, but that's not right, because there's 4 rings to close it up. So that's 192. 192 rings per chain, right? And I need 100 of them. So that's going to be 19,200 rings. You don't know if yours looks like that either? Yeah, I think I just got lucky in that the spring steel ring size that I was using for that weave worked out. But I do think the box weave units are connected to each other after taking a closer look. So, my bad. All right, hang on. Let's figure this out. Let's say I'm right and the figure is 19,200. Actually, I don't. It would either be 96 chains or 104. Let's say 96. Okay. Times 1, it's 192. Right, that's 18,432 divided by 200 rings an hour. It's 100 hours. And I would be a quarter of the way done. So 75 hours to go. This project will take a couple weeks, provided it starts working here. You read the first time, think they're separate sections? That's what I thought. I don't know. This one's not going to be. It is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it. So, okay, let's say nothing changes between now and Christmas, right? I think I'm going to have this project done by Christmas. That's my goal. Between work and family stuff and I should have enough time in there in between to do all this. And this is one of the larger piles of rings I have left, right? Uh-oh. It's a puzzle piece of death. I don't know how many rings are in here. I'm not going to count them out, obviously. But there's far more of these rings than any other ring size I have left to use up. So that'll be a nice chunk of the material I have laying around done and off my plate. Out of my way. I'll be quite happy. So I've got to get... Okay. Basing projected outcomes. I don't like forecasting anything, right? But I've been working on these projects off and on for the last year, mostly really since October of last year. And if that pace continues, I should have 6 months to a year to finish up all these old projects that have been laying around, right? So we'll see if that happens. If by this time next year I should have all my old stuff done. All of it used up, and I can start new projects and investing in having supplies on hand, taking custom orders, making projects for vending. all of that fun stuff. And I'm excited to get to that point because it means that I can work on some of these newer ideas I have, and I'm a lot... What happened was I was young and inexperienced, and I bought a lot of stuff I didn't have any plans for. And a lot of those supplies did not get used up for a decade or so. Decade and a half, some of them. Excuse me. So, I had a lot of material on hand that I didn't know what I was going to do with. A lot of it didn't get used. A lot of projects didn't get finished. They were just laying around for a long time because I didn't have the skill or the gumption to grit and grind through them. So they sat for a long time, and I'm trying to get rid of all the old stuff that I have. And I want to try out other, I would say 99% of the rings that I've used have all been from the Ring Lord, and I want to try other suppliers. There are a lot more suppliers now than when I first got started many, many years ago. Like when I got started, I was not aware of anyone making rings specifically for chainmail, right? It wasn't until 2004, 2005 that I found the Ring Lord, and I ordered a bunch of stuff from them, but it's like, as with most beginners, I didn't know what ring gauges, what that really meant. How big a 16 gauge 5/16 ring really was, or what its practical use could be for. You can make a lot of things with that ring size, but having a bunch of different sizes lets you make a whole bunch of different stuff. So that's something, like, I've dabbled in screwing around and learning chainmail weaves before, obviously, but for the last several months, maybe years, I'm very familiar with everything that I've been doing. I think I've tried to learn 2 weaves in that time. Mostly because, like, I had the ring sizes that were good for certain weaves. So I haven't spent a lot of time learning new weaves or anything. And there's a lot of really cool stuff that's been developed in the past several years. And I'm excited to be done with all my old stuff and take a crack at some new weaves, some new kits, working with some new materials. It'll be fun. It'll be a nice break to get to that point. All right, how much farther we got to go? About another inch. And I don't know how I'll be able to do this during the day because I have work, right? Like I won't be able to work on chains. I'll just have to stream and make chains, and it's just going to be what it is for now, right? A lot of why I do this is to show people This is what it takes to make a project, you know, with chainmail. It's a grind for nearly every project. Which is why I tell people, don't start making chainmail with the chainmail shirt. I did that, and it held me back for years and years and years. Like, I could have done many other things and gotten better at making chainmail when I was first starting out. But I was, you know, working on this shirt off and on. I'd work on it, and then I'd get burnt out. And then I'd work on it some more, and then I'd get burnt out. Then I'd work on it, and it took forever. Right? So I recommend that people start with a kit and go from there. Like, get you a kit, make a bracelet, or earrings, or a necklace, right? And have nice materials and a finished product that you can show off. Yeah, it'll suck. The closures will suck. Okay, to the trained eye, it won't be much. But it's easy to correct mistakes on small projects. And it's a lot harder to do it on real big projects, like a shirt. Not that you can't start off with a shirt, but if you've got the mental fortitude to grind through it, good for you. I did not have that when I was starting, and I think most people don't. It's like they get into it, and it's like, oh, this is taking forever. And then forever goes by, and they go, oh, this is taking really forever. And kits are fun because the one kit that I've used, I had everything in the kit that I needed. The instructions, the correct ring sizes. I didn't have to go figure anything out. I didn't have to play or experiment. It's like, I know how to open and close rings and weave them. And I got all the right ring sizes, and I put that kit together, and I had a finished product when I was done with it. It was an enjoyable experience. Unlike that 3D puzzle. So I worked on a 3D puzzle last night for about 5 hours, trying to clean my kitchen. And at the end of the night, I tapped a piece and it all fell apart. It was awful. I was going to throw it away. But this morning I got downstairs and I was like, all right, I can see where everything goes. I remember somewhat. It still took me another 2.5 hours, 3 hours to finish it, but all right, how close am I? I'm just going to add these as I go along. Oh, 4 more rings. All right. And then the fun portion of adding it and attaching the ends of this chain together It's not hard. It's just difficult because there's not enough room to use 2 pairs of pliers to do it on the very last ring you got to weave into place. It's a literal pain. Someone invited me to watch their live. I didn't catch the name. Shall I be live and go live and watch someone else on their live? Is that too meta? Okay. Oh. Okay. Well, I'm on through those 2 rings. There. Okay. Hopefully this works, and that's... Stay in your little spot. Got a ball bearing that wants to run amok. Okay. Me out here. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Oh. Come on. Go where I need you to go. Alright. I want to watch a movie called The Outpost. Right? There are not a lot of Medal of Honor winners. Awardees, not winners. There are not a lot of people who have received the Medal of Honor alive. Right. Usually it's awarded posthumously. Violet, how you doing? Looking cold? Yeah, I'm in my basement. There's heat down here in a fireplace, but why turn it on when I've got a coat? And it's chilly here. It's cold. Okay? Like, it's in the teens. It's not in the negatives or anything, but I live 2 miles from Lake Michigan, and it's humid as all get out here. So, The Outpost was a good movie. Right on. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, too. Celebrated your niece's 8th birthday. Right on. Happy birthday to your niece. Okay. So, alright, so The Outpost is a story about one of the living Medal of Honor recipients, and about his time in Afghanistan. I was like, oh, I didn't know they made a movie about that. So I'm going to go watch it at some point. Come on. You're very welcome. How was your Thanksgiving? I mean, not just your weekend, but did you have a good Thanksgiving? I hope I enjoy it too. I still haven't watched Dune 2, okay? Or the second installment of Dune, the new version, right? So I will sit down and watch this movie at some point. I might even have to be sitting here and watch it on my computer, but I don't want to watch it that way. I want to watch it on my TV upstairs, right? With the sound and all that good stuff. Oh, don't do that. So I will watch it eventually, but that is on my list of movies to watch. That came up. Come on. This last ring is always such a pain. It was a good day spending time with your mom and friend. Nice, quiet. How's yours? I went to the in-laws and ate food and didn't have to clean up, didn't have to cook, so I was happy. Jeez Louise. All right, now where to go? Where's the part I was working on? Really? Oh, you... There it is. Found it. So, you've been making candy all weekend. Right on. Sounds like a fun time. I've been in a room where where candy was being made, and all I remember is that they took they took brown sugar and caramelized it. And then anything that happened after that, I couldn't tell you what it was. I was very young. There we go. Come on. This doesn't work right. I've tried this. There we go. Got it. Hey, that actually looks pretty good. Okay, so now I've got two of those in the same spot, and then this should get picked up here, and everything should get ridiculously tightened up to the point where your ball bearing doesn't fall out. All right. So yes, I had a grandmother on my stepdad's side of the family who did all the baking and candy making, and I'm useless when it comes to those things, but sick. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere. I've got to make a whole bunch more of these chains, and it should start looking like something. Yeah. That's gonna be cool. Okay, that's your yeah, candy making. I remember you saying something about it. Made marshmallows, soft caramels, candied orange slices, and honeycomb candy. That sounds cool. Okay, now this doesn't just... I gotta look at something real quick. Okay, I've got my image. That is what I needed. I think I'm doing it right. All right. What is the project I'm working on? So I have all these rings to use up. I'm making 5.5-inch chains out of them, and then wrapping the chains around to themselves to make a ring, right? And then weaving each of these rings into a pattern, similar as I would do with the regular ring, like so. And so there's a central weave here, right? And this is the outer layer that I'm adding here, all these looser rings. And I'm hoping to get it tight enough to basically wrap it around itself. We'll see if that happens. And we'll see how. And I've got ball bearings inside to help take up space, and we'll see. So I only need like 75 more chains. Which is what I've been working on pretty much. A ring of rings of rings. Yeah. If I can get it to work, it might not work, which will suck. But if it doesn't work, I'm not going to tear it apart or anything. It will just get turned into, well, I will try to adapt it as best I can to get it to work. Does that make sense? So I've got to make a bunch of tiny chains and weave them all together. And I foolishly thought, okay, so I thought that this was going to be too small for what I'm trying to do, and it is like way too large. So I'm glad the ball bearings popped up. I was like, oh, I can use some of those to make this. And they took up just the right amount of space, seemingly, so far. So I don't know, cross your fingers and I hope it works. I mean, it'll turn into something. Right? I just don't know how big I can make it yet. Right? For example, the last time I tried to do something like this was this, right? It's kind of each of these is a ring of chainmail, and it really just like wrapped around itself real quickly, right? So goodness, and they'll start a 75-year journey to wrap the world in chainmail. Yeah, no, it's like I realized a long time ago that I would never be able to make enough chainmail to cover the world, to protect it, right? Which is why I started making print products. So it's like I want chainmail everywhere. Can't make it all, but I can use it as a pattern and design it all and print it all up. If it's too loose, maybe try adding a few giant rings of Byzantine. Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is like, if it doesn't, there's a couple things I can do, right? Like I wanted that copper to add a two-tone to it, right? But this is not, I can play around with these, see if I can find another weave that'll work to add to this. But it's not going to work for what I initially intended it for, right? And if this doesn't work at all, I can get some like 14 gauge wire or 12 gauge wire. Oh, excuse me. And just weave it through the piece. Kind of like this stainless steel chain here, this part, right? Before I added the stainless steel chain, this was like floppy. And then I added the chain and it took all the tension out of it and made it into something, right? So I'm trying to kind of duplicate that kind of somehow, right? So it might get another weave out of this copper. It might get a copper wire woven around it to hold it in place. Somehow, some way, it's going to work. I'm just not sure how yet. So now this, I just have this ring size to work with, really. So not a ton of thought was put into this. Just kind of flying by the seat of my pants here, seeing if I can come up with something that'll use up a lot of these rings that I have. Because I don't know. They're machine cut, so I don't want to use them for jewelry. They're too thin for like a shirt or something. I wouldn't want to use them for armor unless I was going to weld them, but I'd want them to be saw cut if I was welding them. And then it's a lot of rings and that's a lot of welds. You know what I mean? I don't know how involved I wanted to get in. I just wanted to use up the rings without throwing them away. I haven't used the trading post. Oh, you said that because of the Ringception cube? Well, yeah, even those were a solution to a problem I was having, right? So the rings of Byzantine were added to the cube because the sandworm rings that I made were not like acting like they would in a regular jelly cube, right? They were sliding past each other and getting stuck, and it looked like crap. So, which actually begs the question, should I make another cube using a different weave? But yeah, the blackened Byzantine chains were added to the cube to make everything stay in place, and it turned out that it basically solidified the whole thing. So something will happen to this piece to make it work, I just don't know what yet. And Violet says this is a really cool piece. This is like this is my first sculpture that I did. And I just had leftover brass and bronze rings and was kind of screwing around. And then added the stainless later. And I was like, oh wow, okay, cool. I don't see too many people making sculptures out of chainmail. Maybe I'll try and do that. And then that was when I was like, okay, now I've done the cube, which is a 42,000 ring project. What else can I make? Right? So thank you for saying it's a cool piece. Kind of started all of this. It's like, yeah, that'd be super cool to. I don't know. It's like I'm not the type of person to come up with new weaves, right? I've fiddled around in the past with the idea, and I've tried, but it's not how my brain works. There are people out there who consistently make new weaves, right? And maybe I will one day, but I'm good at taking what I have on hand and adding a layer of complexity to it. Right? That's my strong suit. It's where I don't know why I developed this ability, but it's like the coif I finished up the other day has more decorative weaves in it than I've seen on anyone else's coif. It's not. There are cooler coifs out there, but this one's up there as far as cool coifs go. Right? Giant 30-pound chainmail cube. Using rings made from rings, right? It's not that the weaves used to make the rings were all that difficult to make. It's just that it's a layer of complexity. So I've been focusing on that, and I'm okay at it. And nobody else makes chainmail sculptures, not really. There are a few out there. Oh, you know what else I have to do this week? I have to get a haircut. Oh, and I have to trim my beard. I've got fit testing this week. For those of you who don't know, well, everyone should know. We all went through 2020, 2021. I have to use an N95 mask for work on occasion, because I'm in the healthcare field and that's part of my job. So I have to get what's called fit tested. And I'm just getting tested to make sure that the mask I use fits. And it's like, I know what size I use, but they make you get tested once a year. So in order to make sure that I pass the test, I've got to trim my beard so that It won't, I'll just trim it down a little bit. But my face is going to be cold. I need to trim it anyway. And I need a haircut. So me and the kid got to get haircuts. I got to figure out that. A lot of stuff to do. All right. Linda Dallas says, like the stream. Thank you. Okay, I'm not going to be able to finish. We got 20 minutes left. I'm not going to be able to finish this chain in the next 20 minutes, but we'll get as far as we can. And then it's just going to be making chains for the next little bit. But this is what happened during my cube project, right? 42,000 rings, 27,000 of them were these black and stainless rings that I had to weave some Byzantine out of. And a lot of my streaming was just me chatting, making Byzantine weave from those rings. But it did eventually get done. And this will eventually get done too. Now, let's see here. It might get broken up with like the motorcycle toolkit, right? So the rings you've already put together look like one long piece tied together and reminds you of an Elvis chain. That's what I like about this process, using small rings to make big rings. And because if you do it right, and I don't think I am, I think I'm doing it wrong. I think I need 2 tones minimum, right? If you're real good with color, you could use 3 and make a pattern of some kind. But just the initial part of this, right? All of these rings have texture, right? So that adds, but you got to be careful, right? The texture can be too much. So hence why, like, I would rather have 2 tones on there, personally. Or, and here's the other. Okay. So for these outside rings, I could have used a large solid ring, which actually might be a better idea, actually. I don't know where I'd find a, what are these? 1.5 inch diameter. I don't know where I'd find an 1.5 inch diameter ring that I could bend into shape for the outside. That actually would be a good way to add a solid texture in here, right? Because all we've got right now are the ball bearings, adding that solid texture. And you can't really see it in there, kind of. I don't know. We'll see how this goes along. But it's rings with texture, which is cool. Is what just by no, it's sand. It's like it's sandworm. That's what I'm going for. I've got the full Persian here, and then adding the box weave on the outside. So, like, you can't see a lot of the ball bearing, and it doesn't break up the texture very much. Now I'm really wondering if I should look into going and getting some wire and making rings with an 1.5 inch diameter. I don't want to invest any more time or money on this project than what I've already done. But that is really tempting. No, the small chain, it's all full Persian. I don't use box weave for hardly anything. Except for the outside of sandworm. Yeah, I think if you if I went to a leathersmith, they might have, or like Weaver Leather Supply or Tandy or whatever, they would have solid rings. But I would have to be able to open and close them. That would look better though. Man, would that look better. Oh, it's so tempting. Like some 10 gauge wire, maybe 8. Like, crap. Let's see. I don't need dead soft. Oh, Menards. 15 feet, 8 gauge, solid copper electrical grounding wire. It's $11.34. What to use as a mandrel? Crap. This is a bad idea. What would be easier, making your own large gauge rings or cutting solid rings to open them? Well, if I have to cut the rings open to use them, I would still have to cut the rings I make. Right? Okay. Yeah, I might go to Menards tomorrow. And get some, I don't know if I'll get 8 gauge, but get some thicker copper wire, which will give me the two-tone and the solid texture. Right? Ooh. It's just $11.34. You already have a mandrel. That piping you got for the stand, that's 2 inches. That's too big. But yes, that would be an excellent mandrel. For copper wire, you can use a wooden dowel. Right? So I can just buy a 1/2 inch wooden dowel. Violet, you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. So, and a 3-foot wooden dowel is like $5, maybe 10. So for 20 bucks, I can add solid rings, which will make this faster for starters. It'll also add some structure. It'll also add a solid texture as compared to a solid surface compared to the decorative texture of these, right? Of the rings I have now. Will 8 gauge be thick enough or come off too thin at that size ring? They would be weak and hand weavable. I don't know, John. I'm hoping that what do you call it? I'm hoping that I can have variety of gauge sizes at Menards. So that I can kind of see what I'm getting myself into. And you know what else I could do? Am I going to cut them with the Dremel? I could. I suppose I could. I have a Dremel. But that would require me doing it outside. I don't go outside if I don't have to. Yeah, so if they have a variety of, and I'm just guessing when I say 8 gauge, I don't know what ring size this is. Well, let's say this. What if we did I don't know. Okay, here's a crazy idea. We take all of this apart, right? We make a full Persian chain out of copper rings with 1.5 inch diameter, roughly. Whatever this is. It's... Where are my lines? I can't even tell. It's about 1.5 inches, right? And then we re-add these to the outside. So it would be solid ball bearing, solid copper wire. Outside would be the chains of full Persian. No, I wouldn't use bolt cutters for that. I'd use a Dremel or a saw. Last time we got 4 gauge and 6 gauge ground wire running about 180. Jewelry saw would be cleaner and safer. What's up?
Another one.
Oh, okay.
You fix it?
Sure.
Okay. Over here.
Am I just adding a loop to it? Is that...
And then...
And then making it nice?
Yeah.
Saying a charity over here.
Sir.
Gotta do work.
Sir.
What?
They feed our kid and take care of our kid frequently.
Fine. All right.
They can't see me, can they?
No, they can't see you.
Okay,
So 4 gauge and 6 gauge ground wire ran you $180. I don't think I'm going to need that much. I could be wrong. If it's $180 to do this project, that's probably cost prohibitive. But also, I'm not opposed to it. Right? It answers it's a solution that provides a lot of answers, right, for the issues with this project. Haha, being married is great. You love the friendly banter. Yeah. Yeah, the neighbors who gave me the 3D puzzle that I put together 95% of and then knocked it all apart last night. The wife's grandpa had some garden tools, and she just wanted a leather strap to attach to the hole at the end of the handle. But it was rusty, so I took a wire brush to it and put some mineral oil to the wood and covered the metal in some protective layer of grease and just cleaned it up, So they found one more. It takes 30 seconds to do. Come on. Alright, so since I don't know what I'm doing, all plans evolve. And I'm not so far along in this project that I can't change what I'm doing. If I was closer to being done, I'd just leave it. And since the least amount of effort would be to add copper rings in the box portion of this weave, that's probably what I'll do. So we'll have solid surface in the inside with the ball bearing, textured ring in the middle, and then different color solid surface with the copper rings on the outside. And that, I don't know how much we can... I don't know, we'll figure it out. Because it's a sculpture. It's just going to sit on my mantle. I just have to make it so that it's, not... I don't have to make it indestructible. If I get real fancy, I could solder the copper rings together. That'd probably be really messy. And I just let my nephew borrow my soldering iron. The box weave will give it rigidity. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Well, thanks everyone for your input. It's like I don't want to make this project too overly complex, but it feels like that's a simple solution to this problem. Oh, and then the last thing, because copper tarnishes, right? Here's a question for you, John, if you're listening. So copper tarnishes, how do you get it that green color? Do you just put it in vinegar? I haven't done any research on this whatsoever. And if you do put it in vinegar, does vinegar bother stainless steel at all? And if it does, how else do you change the color of copper? I guess I could do it beforehand. That'd be weird though. So you can use liver of sulfur to age your silver pieces, tarnish those, and it has a cool look, right? But I don't want the copper in this piece to look like a penny, right? Kind of dingy brown. And yes, a lot of your products evolve from one simple statement to a complex masterpiece. They always start somewhere and end up, being more trouble than they're worth. But That's part of the process too, is like you can shoot for a goal when you're making something. And it's always, you know, just because you don't get the result you want at first doesn't mean that you can't accomplish your goal, right? What'll happen is, you know, you just tweak it a little bit until you've got something you like. Due to conductivity of thermal properties, a soldering iron would need to bring the surface up to the solder flow temp, and the rest of the ring is acting like a heat sink, so a torch is more localized. Okay. Brazing and soldering. Okay, I can braze them. That's fine. I got a torch. That's not a difficult thing to do. Time-consuming, pain in the butt. But all you need for a green patina is a pinch of salt with usual amount of ammonia and vinegar. Close the copper with a double layer of plastic and swirl it around. As the color develops, you can see it looks more rusty green. Boil some eggs and crush them inside of a plastic bag. Set the copper item inside and wait 4 to 24 hours for the patina to develop. For more hands-on options, soak the item with white vinegar, ammonia, and salt for a green patina. There we go. Now, will a combination of salt, white vinegar, and ammonia do anything to stainless steel? If the stainless steel sat in that solution for 24 hours. Well, think of the pine cone. Yeah. The pine cone project started out as a pine cone and quickly moved to a that became the 30-pound cube. So, you know, $1,500 later. All right. Time is it? Oh, it's 10:01. So, okay, I have some more work to do on this project. That's fine. I think getting some copper wire, some heavy gauge copper wire, and adding it to this project, like making rings out of the wire, and adding it to this project is going to be a good solution. And then turning them green. Right? So this project might look completely different tomorrow. The idea is still the same. We're going to make a sandworm chain with captured ball bearings. But we're going to add some copper rings with some patina, and hopefully it works out. Yeah, the cube started out as, it was my dragon scale pine cone plan, but the weave I used, the sandworm weave I used for the cube did not work out for the pine cone sculpture. But we will get to the pine cone sculpture eventually. You can make a little dragon scale pine cone out of chainmail. It's really cool. But for anyone hanging out, my name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and also I make chainmail, right? And this is, as you just heard, the evolution of this project is ongoing. It's kind of at the start. I've had this chain of full Persian laying around for forever, and have finally decided to do something with it. I didn't know what to do for a long time, so hopefully I made the right decision. We're going to add some copper wire and see what happens. When stainless steel is directly connected to copper galvanic corrosion occurs. So there's some debate as to whether the copper corrodes or the stainless steel. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. Yeah. So if you like what you see, and you want to support me doing what I do, please go to my website. It's myusername.com, mailworks.com, and get yourself something nice. The giant snug chainmail hoodies are really warm, and it's getting really cold outside, so that's a good one. If you are interested in learning more about chainmail, in the bio of all of my socials, there should be my link tree. And the second link on that link tree is the Mailworks app. And in there are all the resources I wished I would have had when I first got started making chainmail 28 years ago. Yeah. So check that out. And there's a Discord inside the Mailworks app if you have any questions and you want to hang out with cool people who make cool stuff out of chainmail. Like me. I'm not that cool. It's like, are swords cool? Yes. Do guys who own are guys who own swords cool? No. That's me. Chainmail's cool. Are guys who make chainmail cool? You let me know. Other than that, the holiday weekend is done, so we'll get back to our routine schedule. I'll try to be here 8 to 10 most nights of the week when I can, or when I don't have basketball practice for my kid. Oh, excuse me. And we'll make lots of cool stuff, like jelly cubes, and sarlacc bungholes, and I don't know what else. Jewelry. We'll eventually do some jewelry, too. So, you all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to get out of here. I got some stuff I got to do. Tomorrow's a work day and a school day, and got to get stuff done. So, you all have a good night. I will talk to you all later.